Ergo Sum is an exotic sword added to Destiny 2 in the final shape. So this one is a random rolled exotic sword, and also it's a special ammo sword. And crucially, it's the sword that we saw on our grave in the Corridors of Time. Well, today I'm going to run through all the steps for how to get the Ergo Sum in Destiny 2. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, plus also like the video and turn on notifications to never miss an update from Endgame Express. Okay, without further delay, let's dive into the guide and look at how to get the Ergo Sum. So here's the checklist that you need to do to get the Ergo Sum. So you need to complete the Final Shape campaign, you need to complete the Queen's Part 1 quest, complete the Found in the Dark quest, complete the Lost in the Light quest, and then finally complete the Queen's Part 2 quest. So we're going to dive into these individually, so let's start with Queen's Part 1. So once you finish up the campaign, you're going to be back in the Lost City in the tower, talk to Ghost, and they're going to offer you the Destined Heroes quest. Then you want to tune into the radio message to pick up the Queen's Part 1 quest. Queen's Part 1 is similar to a campaign mission. It is all fairly straightforward, to be honest, apart from the Hive rune mechanics. So at a certain point, you're going to have to reflect different elements into runes to activate them. You'll have to kill Hive Knights to pick up their sword and reflect different elements into the runes. So keep killing the Hive enemies, and then new enemies are going to spawn to create the different elements. So you've got Arc, Void, Solar. So keep killing enemies, and those enemies will appear. Keep working through the mission. You're going to face off against Savathun, and then finish up the Queen's Part 1 quest. Once you've finished Queen's Part 1, then speak to Cade in the Lost City to pick up Wildcard. But don't worry, you're going to come back to that later. Then speak to Ghost again, and he'll give you two new quests called Lost in the Light and Found in the Dark. These are both post-campaign missions to help you pick up the remaining Light and Darkness prismatic supers, grenades, melee abilities, and also your aspects as well. Next up, let's have a look at how to complete Lost in the Light. So once you start this quest, you want to follow the quest markers, and it will take you to the first prismatic chest. There's two mini quests that you need to complete called the Hollow Part 1 and the Hollow Part 2. And on the way here, you're going to have to face off against the Eaters of Light and Darkness, and there's fallen enemies here. So here you have to pick up 5 motes of darkness and slam them into the light plates, and also the opposite, so 5 motes of light and slam them into the darkness plates. Then it's a face off against Cora the Hollow. You have to repeat the mechanics you learned with the light and darkness motes. For the Hollow Part 2, you go back to Europa and you have to escort the exploding shank to doorways to explode them open, and then work your way through the landscape repeating the exploding shank trick until you meet Cora again for another boss fight. Once you've finished up the Hollow Part 1 and 2, you need to open up the prismatic chest to get your new abilities. Next up, we got Found in the Dark. So Found in the Dark is similar to Lost in the Light, although this time you're facing off against the Shadow Cabal. You load into the missions, pick up your prismatic chest to get the darkness abilities, and then complete a couple of smaller quests against the Cabal called Home Part 1 and Home Part 2. Keitel is basically giving Zavala a pep talk throughout, given he's feeling pretty down after the campaign, and Keitel is trying to motivate him again. So for Home Part 1, you're going to face off against the Shadow Legion, and you have to place Cabal antennas, which means killing a certain enemy type, picking up their drops and placing it on the generator to destroy it. Once you finish that, pick up the darkness ability from the prismatic chest. Then finally you've got Home Part 2. That takes you out in the snow where you've got to explode the generators manually this time. And finally you're going to be taken back to Zavala's house for a final battle against a tank. Well, next up we've got Queen's Part 2. So Queen's Part 2 is another straightforward mission similar to a campaign mission where you follow the quest markers and you end up fighting 2 tormentors. Complete the quest, and then you're going to speak to Ghost again, who will give you something called the Diadic Prism. This will give you access to a new landing zone in the Pale Heart of the Traveller, and that is by the Sacrarium. So load in here, interact with the statue, and then you're going to get your first Ergo Sum exotic sword. Well, let's have a closer look at the Ergo Sum. So it's a random rolled exotic, meaning every time you get it, you're going to get a new sword frame and new sword perk. So there is a fixed perk called Transcendent Duelist, and that means it takes special ammo, also kills with weapon, charge both your light and darkness meters for Transcendence. While Transcendent, Ergo Sum does a load more damage and also increases the Transcendence timer. To get additional versions of Ergo Sum, you want to complete the Pathfinder bounty on the Pale Heart of the Traveller, or you can farm the Overthrow activity. So here's all the perks you can get with Ergo Sum. You can get Wolfpack rounds, that is off Galahorn, so heavy attacks grant cluster munitions to sword wielders. You got Gathering Light, this is from Traveller's Chosen, so stowing the weapon restores ability energy based on final blows. You've got Sacred Flame, that's Tiku's Divination, so heavy attacks marks targets and light attacks detonate them. Then you got the Perfect Fifth, that is from Polaris Lance, so every 5 hits attaches a delayed explosion. We've got Arc Conductor, that is Risk Runner, so heavy attacks Surge Lightning from the user. We've got Stormbringer, that's from Cloud Strike, so rapid final blows create a lightning storm. We've got Unplanned Reprieve, that is from Telesto, so heavy attacks emit delayed detonating projectiles. And then finally you've got a very interesting one, Insectoid Robot Grenades, that's from the Colony, so final blows deploy homing robot grenades. Well, this one is a really interesting exotic, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. But that is it for this guide for how to get the Ergo Sum exotic sword in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget you can hit that subscribe button down below for even more Destiny 2 content here on Endgame Express. You can also like the video and share the video too. That would really help me out here on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I will see you very soon. Well, thank you for watching that video, and today I'd like to talk about Endgame Express Backstage, the home of exclusive content for fans of Endgame Express. To join, simply join up through Patreon or the YouTube membership. You get early access and exclusive content, shout-outs in the videos, access to live streams, plus also access to our exclusive Endgame Express Backstage community Discord. Well, here's some more information about the tiers. So in Tier 1, that is $2.99 a month, you get access to our community Discord and also early access to content. In Tier 2, that is $4.99 and you get shoutouts in the credits of videos, and also you get access to community polls and help shape the content. For Tier 3, that is $8.99 and you'll get access to exclusive community videos and also get access to exclusive live streams as well. Well, the core content on Endgame Express is always going to be free, but if you want to go above and beyond and support Endgame Express, then all you need to do is get access to Endgame Express Backstage today through Patreon or YouTube membership. You know, Endgame Express is a one-man band right now, but I would love to expand into more games, podcasts, more channels, but to do that, I'm going to need your help to make this sustainable, and in return, I offer you some exclusive benefits and backstage-only content. Well, if you enjoy Endgame Express, then consider Endgame Express Backstage today. You can hit that membership button right down below, or you can find us on the Patreon links, and you'll find those links in the description. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you very soon.